continuing our conversation about regional development. At this point, we will be speaking about the Caribbean community, Caricom, which will be celebrating its Golden Jubilee on 4th of July.
So let's talk about that celebration.
Well, the celebration comes about because on July the 4th, 1973, 4 leaders of the region met and signed what is known to us as the Treaty of Chaguaramas. That agreement sought to deepen the integration process, and 1 year later, stkittsnevis joined. So we joined in 1974 on the 4th of July. And so it is significant that this year, because there's a celebration of 50 years, that there will be a holiday throughout the region for the Golden Jubilee of Caricom. That has been sent to the Cabinet of Ministers. It has been approved by the Cabinet of Ministers, and Her Excellency, the Governor General, Dame Marcella, has already made the proclamation. And so there will be on Tuesday the 4th of July a holiday in stkittsnevis and other member states of Caricom, with their governments giving the blessing for Caricom Day to be celebrated. This celebration comes because, just like the OECS, there is an integration movement. That integration movement deals a lot with productivity of the member states and productivity in areas of investment, manufacturing, agriculture. We want to be able to have that shared experience. I don't know if you've ever heard of what was the Jack Dale initiative at one point, where then President of Guyana, Barrett Jack Dale, said to all of Caricom, if you want to do very large-scale farming, Guyana will make the lands available to you. You come to Guyana, you farm as much as you want, and you are free to export and to trade with that. That is the kind of cooperation we have had, and we want to further develop that form of integration. We would like for the professionals, the artisans of our region to also have that experience of moving freely among the member states. And so there is a movement arrangement within Caricom as well. It is not as deep as the one for the OECS, but because you would understand we are dealing with a wider market, we want to be able to tread cautiously and to do so productively. And so the desire at this point is to work much closely with each other. And so the heads, just like we had our OECS heads meeting, there will be a heads meeting in Trinidad. Now, just like the OECS, there's a rotational basis for the meetings as well. It is not so fortuitous that Trinidad got the meeting for the 50th anniversary. It was supposed to be Dominica's turn. But Dominica said to Trinidad, in the spirit of brotherhood, we will cheer. So the Prime Minister of Dominica, will be the chair of Caricom. However, in solidarity with Trinidad, knowing that this was a place where the agreement was signed, we will come back home for the 50th anniversary. And so the heads will meet in Port of Spain with a special session in the town of Chaguaramas at the site where the agreement was signed. It promises to be a wonderful celebration, and what the desire is to have the celebration spread throughout the year, from starting in July, spreading from July to June of 2024, and in all the member states. So there are some activities being planned. We are considering at this point public lecture in collaboration with the University of the West Indies. We want also to have an ecumenical service, a church service of Thanksgiving for 50 years. We are also looking at having what we want to dub an experience of Caricom street fair. In Bastille.
Food, right?
Food, culture. we are seeking to have it, music.
Okay.
We're seeking to have that. More details to come.
Oh, I'm looking forward to
More
that.
details to come. And so we're also looking at having an exhibition outlining the history of Caricom and stkittsnevis.
Okay.
We want to start it at the National Museum. So on and around July 4th, it will be available to the people. And when it is taken down from the exhibition taken down at the National Museum, we then want to migrate it to our public libraries.
Okay.
So we'll have it at Charles Halbert, at the Nevis Library, so that our young people and everyone in the community who visit the libraries would be able to have that understanding. Because just as with the OECS experience, as I said a while ago, I believe our people know about regional integration. We know about CSME. We know about the CCJ.
Right.
We know about all these, but how do they apply to us?
Yes.
I think it is Dominica who recently announced that it is now fully with the CCJ.
Okay.
Its cases are no longer going, its appellate cases are no longer going to the Privy Council in Great Britain. Very much the same. What happens to the other member states?
Okay.
When will stkittsnevis go that way? These are the kind of things we have to work towards. And we will determine together, but yet as sovereign states, how we are going to shape that integration, how we are going to shape that cooperation to ensure it redounds to the benefit of all the people.
Wow. Well, I mean, I'm not sure about Cortense, but Your Excellency, you're making my job so easy this morning. You seem to be going through all the list of my questions. But I must ask you, where did your love and passion for national and regional development begin?
It began perhaps in primary school.
Okay.
If ever there was a subject that I did not have to study for, it was then social studies.
Social studies.
I could rattle off the capitals, the leaders, the national products, the everything about the different. So I was never a good speller. So with a 50-something or 40-something% in spelling, it was made up with 100% in social studies.
Yeah.
And so I always had that understanding and that passion of wanting to know what's going on in this country, what's going on in that country.
Okay.
And so even up to today, if I can find a service that gives me a television station in each of the member states, I subscribe to it.
Nice.
Because I get an opportunity to understand how the people collaborate. I have a device at home called a squeeze box, and I make sure to tune into a radio station to each of the member states. So I have Power FM in Jamaica. I have my I-95 in Trinidad. I have my Helen Radio in St. Lucia. I make sure they're there.
Yeah.
And ZNS in Bahamas. So I make sure at some point I'm listening to each of them. So I'm having an understanding of what's going on. Because what I've learned in some courses I've done in international relations is that news helps you to understand the dynamics in which the cooperation happens.
Yeah.
So if you know what's really happening in the country, maybe it's crime, maybe it's a new industry, you will know if you can cooperate with that country in that industry. If they're facing a crime situation, how are they dealing with it? Are they getting over it? Maybe I should do the same thing they're doing. Can I work with them too?
Yes.
These are the kind of things. So you have to know what's happening in the other countries if you're going to work with them.
I like that.
Wow. Indeed. And with that,
So it goes way back since I was a child.
Since you was a child, awesome. And with that, stay with us. We continue with Your Excellency Larry Vaughan right after this short break.
Wow. Welcome back to Good Morning SKN as we continue this engaging discussion with His Excellency Ambassador Larry Vaughan about Golden Jubilee or 50th anniversary celebration of the Caricom community. I think I mixed up, of the Caricom community, Caricom. Okay, got that. So we didn't touch on the team, so let's touch on the team quickly before we proceed. 50 years strong, a solid foundation to build on. I like it, it rhymes.
Yes, that too. Just like the OECS's theme, the Caricom theme envisions that there is still some way to go.
Yeah.
We still have a situation where we have Haiti, who is a member, and we want that solid foundation to take root in the member states like Haiti. We'd want that there is that shared cooperation throughout all the lands that are within the CARICOM region. And so it would be good that each of us knows what's happening in Suriname. If each of us could know what's happening in Guyana. Right. And so notwithstanding our divergence in sizes, you're talking about stkittsnevis with about 50,000 people, and populations like Jamaica and Trinidad with close to or over a million each. You are looking at such wide divergence, but yet shared cooperation.
That's true.
And so that theme says that we had that vision, yet we are not there yet. And it is something we need to build on, something we need to continually work towards. Because if we ever decide we are comfortable because we have achieved this, don't you know who we are? We are the Caribbean community. It leads to a place of complacency, and we have to guard against that. And this theme says that the building continues. There is in the labor community, and when I say labor, I mean trade unions and those, a luta continua, which means the struggle continues. And so not because you have made these gains mean you must relax. And so that 50 years that now we celebrate, it is just the start towards what must become that better future for the people of the region. And so we are happy to be at the wheel at this time to make sure that we navigate the Caribbean community among the Committee of Ambassadors, the different organizations like the Committee of Foreign Relations, because we have to make sure that we collaborate with the UN and the Commonwealth and Britain and United States to make sure that as a region we are standing strong, that when we go out we can negotiate with one voice, 15 votes, and get more for our people. And so there is a lot that we can do with our work these 50 years on.
Wow, nice.
And Ambassador, as for the novices like Hortensia and myself,
and me, I'm novice. I'm just here, 7 months? I'm a novice as well.
I can attest, she is a novice.
Oh my God.
Can you share the difference between CARICOM and OECS? Is there a difference?
I want to quote the British on something. They normally say it's a distinction without a difference.
Okay.
Because we are still one Caribbean people. And to seek to separate OECS from CARICOM is to separate siblings, is to separate a family member because I live in one village and you live in another, right? We have a common identity. Historians have put it up this way, that we all came from the same place, we came to the same destination, only that we were dropped off on different islands. Correct. So we're still one people. What I can now say separates CARICOM from OECS is the level or the method through which we are seeking to achieve integration. Because the OECS is more along the lines of what socialists used to call back in the day less developed countries. That is now a lie, because the smaller countries of the region, they are as advanced as the larger countries. So the size often separates us, but we have that vision and we work towards achieving. So when it comes to the level of integration, what separates Caricom from OECS, for example, on goods? Caricom allows for goods that are made within the region to move throughout the region without having to pay duties and taxes.
Okay, that's good.
So if a good is made in Trinidad and it is considered to be wholly produced or substantially produced, once it moves from Trinidad to any of the other member states, they would come in without duties and taxes. That happens within the OECS as well. However, the OECS takes it further and says, we are so closely related that if the good has landed from another country outside of the OECS, outside of Caricom, and it lands in one member state, to move from that member state to the next, you don't pay any duties and taxes.
Interesting.
With the Caricom, that still applies. With the movement of persons, the Caricom says you will need a skills certificate, and they have identified now up to 13 areas where you can be, whether a university graduate, you have certain skills, you get what is called a skills certificate, and that allows you the freedom to move. In OECS, we say, once you're a citizen, movement is yours. It's not that Caricom is being selective or is wrong with their approach, but they understand there is a broader context in which, and until we can negotiate and get that common understanding, it is a good start to begin with the professionals and make sure that we have a thriving business community within the region. And so that is the way the cooperation goes. What else is the difference between them? Caricom, well, there is investment. Both of them have investments. Investments portfolios. They seek to represent us in the greater world. The OECS has embassies. So there is an embassy in Brussels, there's an embassy in Morocco, and there's a third one I can't bring quickly, but they represent all of the region, of the OECS region. Caricom does not yet. And I don't think we'll ever might want to go that way. But who knows? The integration process will become deeper. But what I can say about both of them quickly is that we still have a desire to even deepen the integration process even more. So it's always good to listen out. There was the Treaty of Chagaramas and revised treaty. There can be further a deeper integration. There was the Treaty of Bastille and the revised treaty. I was speaking to a friend of mine the other day, and he said he longs for the day when we move from the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States to the Union of Caribbean States. And I looked at that and I said, hey, he's asking even for more deeper integration, and that's a vision we must look towards.
Well, Mr. Ambassador Vaughan, we are out of time, but just in your closing remarks, what would you say to our OECS and Caricom citizens?
The OECS and Caricom citizens, if I can look at you somewhere in the camera and talk to you, that stkittsnevis, OECS, Caricom, we are all one people. And it is for us to have that conversation. It is for us to have that collaboration. It is for us to have that understanding. Because when we have that shared understanding, we are able to work together. There are some issues that are really facing us and can be so troubling. Some believe that it is crime. Others believe it is the environment. Others believe that we are not yet producing at levels where we need to. Whatever those issues are, let us have the conversation and be prepared to turn that conversation into action.
Yes.
Because it is from that we are able to build a better civilization called the Caribbean.